Welcome to the Good Karma Sport Fishing Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet. Hey guys, short podcast this week. I'm extremely busy, so this one's going to be short, but it's going to have some good nuggets. Okay, some good nuggets. So May 1st is this weekend grouper opener, but I'm not going to talk about grouper. I'm going to talk about flatlining for yellowtail snapper. Okay. So I want to help you guys out with bait, okay? So here's what I want you guys to do. If you really want to have a successful day of yellowtail fishing, here's what I suggest, okay? Number one, you stop at the Yellow Bait House in Key Largo or wherever you can get a hold of some fresh mullet. It doesn't really need to be fresh even, okay, guys? Mullet is a very oily fish, okay? The chum manufacturers use mullet in their chum, okay? They use mullet, they use sardine, they use herring, okay? Mullet is a very good yellowtail bait, okay? The skin is really tough, and it gives off a kind of a white shine underwater, okay? So in green water, and the reason why I know this is that I have hundreds of hours of video that I've gathered of yellowtail schools underwater using my Verb camera, okay? So I put a camera underneath, I watch how they swarm, I watch how they act. So when you're fishing green water, okay, you shake the chum bag. So what happens is you shake the chum bag and then the mullet comes out with the chum, it's mixed in and ground in or whatever, and you can see, now this is in green water, now let me back up a little bit. Mullet has a white skin, okay? So in green water, has that sun's penetrating, you can really see that white skin reflect in the sun more so than the other pieces of bait. And what do the fish key in on? They're keying in on those white pieces of bait when the sun reflects on them. I can see the fish come off the bottom in balls, and you may not be able to see. Everybody's like, oh, I can't see the fish. I'm not balling them up. Well, sometimes, guys, you don't want them to ball up because when they ball up, that brings in the sharks and shit. So don't worry about balling them up. If you're catching fish, you're catching fish. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So you can't see them. So what they do is when the chum flows out of the bag, I'll see the ball come up and they'll swarm in on those white pieces of bait. And that's what they're eating, okay? They're eating the mullet pieces. So keep in mind, the old saying goes, you gotta match the hatch. Well, that's the same with chumming. So here's what I want you guys to do, okay? You get the mullet, you skin it, you cut it into tinier pieces of bait. Don't use larger pieces of mullet for... Everybody's like, oh, you need the large piece to catch the big yellowtail. Yeah, but you know what keys in on those larger pieces first? The shitfish. Hashtag shitfish. Hashtag shitfish life. Okay, so there are so many tricks out there. It's unreal how many out there exist as far as what you can do to get your bait by the shitfish and to the yellowtails and catch the yellowtails and not those shitfish. And rigging baits to avoid the shitfish and chum slicks are some of the things that we're going to be talking about in the Good Karma Sport Fishing Rigging Group crew. That's the monthly paid group, and it is $49 a month. We do a 2-hour seminar. And then there's the private Facebook group. So those are the type of things that we're talking about in there. Just simple techniques and tricks that you can use to catch more fish and avoid the shitfish in your chum slick. So here's one simple trick that will help. Get your bait past the shitfish, back to the yellowtail. You need to scale down your bait, and you also need to take a lot of the meat off of there with a razor blade, okay? Because the more meat you have, the more of an attractant that is to the shitfish. Now, what you can also do is you can also tie. I do this from time to time when I'm really fighting those damn fish, is that I'll take some wax thread and I'll tie that piece of bait onto the hook. And what that'll do is it'll really hold that bait on there, and then they'll nip at it, and they'll take the meat off, but you'll still have the skin on there, and that's what those yellowtail will key in on. So sometimes it's just better to use the damn skin. Honestly, and if you're getting your chum right and everything's going right and you're getting your bait fed back there right, you're going to catch them on just the skin without the meat. So, but there's a fine line there of like whether they're going to eat just the skin, they're going to eat this the meat. That's something that you guys have to figure out on your own. But I just gave you guys some nuggets to start churning some shit around in your brain. And that's what I want you to do. It's like anything else, is that one person can give you a really good idea, and then the next person takes it to another level, and that's how things are invented, okay? That's how engineers work. You got a room full of engineers, guy brings in a design, and another guy comments on it, another guy comments on it, and then the maintenance guy comes in and uses duct tape to fix it. And then the engineer comes in and he fixes it. And then voila, you got a magic piece of equipment that works very well. So that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in. You can follow me on Instagram at goodkarma_sportfishing_FL_keys. You can visit my website, goodkarmasportfishing.com. And if you're interested in booking a charter, you can email me at goodkarmaryan@gmail.com. Thanks again, guys. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.